Alright, hi YouTube, and welcome to all my Boredom Busters. I am your host, Brad Claybaugh, and you have found Brad's Boredom Busters, your textile art channel. This is the channel where we have fun with fabric. And on this video, I am going to be showing you how to do some bleach painting. I'm going to be doing a picture on the back of a black hoodie. But before we get into that project, let's take care of a little bit of business. If you like the content of this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And then don't forget to ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. And if you really enjoy the content, please give it a thumbs up. And I'm also very interested in your comments. So please leave a comment about this video or any other video that you've seen. And also, if you want to help support my channel, by giving me a donation, that really helps me out because I am not sponsored by any other resource. So go to my Buy Me a Coffee page and donate. Just buy me a coffee, and that really helps me out so I can continue making content to bring it to you every week. All right, well, let's get on with this project. So like I said, we're doing bleach painting. Now, I've always been a big fan of hot rods. I've built models for years and gone to many car shows, and I've always loved hot rods. In particular, the older style that have a lot of pinstriping on it. Yes, I really love pinstriping. And I experimented on a few t-shirts, and so today we're going to get into it, a little bit more involved project. I've always thought it was really cool when I see a hot rod with pinstriping, but it's a Tiki pinstripe. And so I drew up this, and this is going to be what we'll put on the back of my black hoodie. And so, like any other textile project, if you're doing any dyeing or bleach painting, make sure you pre-wash the shirt or the hoodie first. But unlike tie-dye, after you pre-wash it, you can dry it. It doesn't have to be soaked in soda ash. You just bring it to the table and then do your layout, and then you can start bleach painting on the dry shirt. All right, so let's go over the materials that you're going to need for this project. Obviously, you need an all cotton t-shirt or hoodie. Now, in my case, the one that I have back here is actually a cotton poly blend. Then the other item you're going to need, well, obviously your bleach, and that'll be a 50-50 blend of water and bleach. That's usually the best. That way it's not too harsh. And so because you're going to be taking time to, applying the bleach from the beginning to the end, and then before you get a chance to neutralize the bleach, the diluted bleach is not as harsh, and so it's not going to attack the fabric and make holes in it before you actually get around to neutralizing it. And we'll talk about that when we get done drawing out our Tiki. So the other thing that you're going to need is obviously paint brushes to paint out your design. And when I first did this on those previous black shirts, the first one I did it on, I actually used a natural fiber brush, and I noticed that as I went through the project, it felt like the brush was getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Well, the bleach being so caustic, it actually dissolved the natural fiber bristles of the brush. So you want to use a synthetic bristle brush to do your bleach painting. I found this whole set of nylon bristle brushes at Michael's Arts and Crafts store, which is a fairly national brand, I believe. And this set was, I think, about $5 to $7. It wasn't much. And there's numerous brushes and different sizes and shapes. I actually like the chisel shaped ones for doing pinstripe. I found that it worked really well. But if you're doing any other kind of bleach painting, I mean, you have the normal filbert shaped brush, and then a flat brush as well. So it gives you a lot of variety to do many projects. I used one brush on, I think, 2 different projects, and I didn't notice any decay of the bristles. So a set like this would last for a number of bleach painting projects, and so it's a real good value. Okay, and then the other thing that you're going to need, I mean, I love graph paper. And so if you're doing any kind of design, especially any design that has symmetry to it, graph paper is great for that. So what I did with this project is I drew a center line, and then I had measured out the space that I want to cover on the back of the hoodie, and that was about 14 inches tall. So with a ruler, I calculated what would be 14 inches on the graph paper, and then I divided that into 2-inch horizontal lines, because when we start on the hoodie, I'll show you this, I'll do the same thing. We'll draw a center line, and then we'll draw a series of horizontal lines 2 inches apart, and then that way I can transfer this design to the back of the hoodie. And that's the other thing you're going to need for this project. You're going to need a pencil to draw on the back of, or on the front of your t-shirt or hoodie. So I had a white kind of a all mark pencil. It says it would mark on plastic, glass, metal, and I used to use that sometimes for drawing on fabric as well. My cat Squirt did something with it, can't find it, so I bought another one. I did one project with it, and the one I bought was yellow, and it still showed up very well on the black. But I noticed that when I went to bleach paint over this particular type of pencil, it acted almost as a resist, and I wasn't getting as much bleach to the fabric as I did when I used just a regular color pencil. Just, you know, a regular artist color pencil. I used a yellow and I drew down with that, and that showed up equally as well. But when I bleached over it, it went into the fabric a lot easier. So any good quality color pencil in a white or a yellow is really, I recommend that for drawing out your design on the black fabric. And so that'll be the other item that you need for this project. As well as a ruler just to lay out your grid on your t-shirt or on your hoodie. And so I think that's a good explanation of what we're going to be getting into. The video may be a little long, but in areas like just drawing it out and doing the bleach painting, we'll kind of fast through that so you can still watch me doing it, but it will reduce the time. And it should come out pretty cool. I'm excited about this design. And so let's get over, all right, remembered one more thing important for this project. I just purchased some foam core, and what you want to do, and I'll show you that before we get started on drawing out the design, is making an interior form to put inside your t-shirt or hoodie to kind of help hold it taut, and that way it gives you a firm surface to draw on. So that'll be the first thing I do, is make an interior form to go inside the garment to help hold it tight. Yeah, I took some of these little clips and gathered up the fabric and then clamped that around it on the back and even on the sides just to help keep the fabric taut. And so I may end up doing that for this as well. It just helps to keep the fabric stretched as you're drawing with the pencil on it. Anyway, so I think that's everything I need to tell you. And so let's get over and get started. We'll knock out making the form, and then I'll show you how to do the layout, and then we'll get into the bleach painting. All right, see you over at the work table. All right, Busters, so here's the hoodie. This is the back. So now I will make the form that will get tucked inside to help kind of keep it shape while we're working on it. So what I like to use on this kind of project is foam core, and I get it at the Dollar Tree or any dollar store. Usually will have foam core, and so it's just that. And so because it's narrower than my hoodie, then I will set it sideways underneath it to kind of lay out the perimeter, and then we'll cut it. And then I will take another piece, I have some scrap, and cut that and tape that to the bottom and reinforce it, and then that'll go inside. So I'll show you how to lay that out, and we'll get started. And so when you draw this out, make your lines just a little bit wider so it actually puts tension on the fabric. And then follow the shape of the shoulder. Okay, now I'll cut that part out first, and then we'll take the other piece and add it to it. So use your cutting mat. I use an X-Acto blade. It's, like I say, foam core. It's real easy to cut through. Okay, that's that part of it. Now let's see about adding the bottom. Okay, so another piece of foam core. This is just some scrap from a previous project. Alright, and now I want to actually put some strips on the back to stiffen it, just to keep this from wanting to move there or, you know, starting to hinge. So and this doesn't have to be perfect or anything, like I say, it's just for reinforcement. Just a couple inches wide. we go. Okay. And I think we'll put it on this side. And this is also going to help because when you work on, well, for me it's going to help because if you're working on a hoodie, there's the zipper, and the zipper makes kind of a lumpy section down the middle. So this way I can put this in, these will face down, and that way the zipper will kind of, the excess fabric and the zipper itself will kind of ride in this channel. And so when I'm working on the back, it'll leave it as a flatter surface. Okay, so let's just get that taped off. So then we'll just test fit it inside the hoodie, and it may need some adjusting, you know, and that's perfectly okay. But like I say, you want it to be kind of snug inside whatever you're, you know, working on, t-shirt or otherwise. You want that to be stretched out tight. Okay, that's real good. I don't know that I have to do anything else to it. I think I might put a couple of those little clamps down here at the bottom just to kind of pull it and hold it in place. And when you're doing this, make sure you don't distort though the back, because once you draw this out and then you release the clamps, you don't want your image to kind of get distorted because you drew on the fabric when it was distorted. But then when you release the clamps, it goes back to its normal shape, but then your image distorts. So yeah, don't pull it too tight, just enough to kind of keep things, you know, taut, so it's easier to draw. There we go. Okay. Yeah, see, now that doesn't move around when I'm working on it, so that's good. Okay. So our next step then would be to find center. And I don't know if you can see it here, the hood itself has a seam right down the middle, so that's center there. And then I'm going to, I can see the zipper in the front, I'm going to call that center there. There. And also before I got started with this, I put this on because I wanted to know how far down the hood hung on my back, because I didn't want the image too high up and being covered up by the hood. So I put this on. I had my wife take my yellow pencil and mark off where the hood hung. And so then I made a mark down, oh, I think an inch or two below that. And that helped determine where I was going to put it. So got a mark here and here, because I plan on doing a design around the bottom in the future. So I wanted to be up high enough So my Tiki is going to be 14 inches tall, so it's going to be right here between these marks. All right, let me get my yardstick and we'll mark this out, and then we'll do the grid that I talked about, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so here's a yardstick. If you don't have a yardstick, maybe if you have some quilting rulers that are long, or you can just make marks with a regular ruler. Yardstick really comes in handy though for a lot of projects, I find. Okay, so now to lay out the grid, I am going to use one of my quilting rulers, only because I can put the center line of this ruler, which is a 12 inch, so at 6 inches, I can set it right on my center line, and that squares it up so that way I know my horizontals are perpendicular to the vertical. So let's get into that. And I'll try not to get my head in the way so you can see it all. So I'm going to line up to this top mark. And if you're wondering, because I've done it before already and I know that it works, the regular pencil, it does wash out, so you don't have to worry about that. So once you get done with all the bleach painting and neutralizing it, then run it through the wash, and all these grid lines will come right out. All right, so I want to go down 2 inches. And so I'll mark every 2 inches here. 2 and 4 and 6 and 8, and you're all real smart, you can figure out the rest. There we go. And right there to the bottom. Yep. Okay, so let's finish the grid. So, as I said earlier, with pinstriping, if you want to attempt something like this, symmetry is really the big part of it, and that's why it's good to do this grid line, because it helps you visually see that you're matching one side to the other. Alright, so there's our grid. So now we can start laying out the Tiki. So I brought over the reference material. I'll lay that here next to me. I am going to, I think just because it's as tall and far away as it is, I think I'm going to elevate this. I've got a little painting easel that I had made that is kind of at an angle. I think I'm going to put that underneath this. That'll make it easier for me to reach out to do the layout. So I'll be right back. Alright, let's get this guy underneath here. My pencil. My pencil. Okay, that's not bad. Alright, I'm going to sharpen this one up just because it's a little dull from earlier work. Doesn't have to be real sharp, but I do want the line to be as fine as I can make it. Alright, so let's start with this guy here. What also will help so I can recreate this, because I have the same grid spacing here This is scaled up, but this is identical. And so because this is supposed to represent 2 inches, but on the graph paper it's 1 inch. So I know that 4 grid squares is 1 inch, so I can calculate how far out this is and then transfer that over here. So to the center, so that makes that 1.75 inches. And this is just something you're going to want to probably do to, you know, once you get this laid out. I mean, I can kind of eyeball it, but I want it to be as close to this as possible. So there's no shame in using a ruler to help lay it back out so it looks the same as what you got. So if you get some lines that you don't like, I find a kneadable artist eraser will remove it. I mean, it's just kind of this color pencil material that's sitting right on the surface, so it's not that hard to get rid of. That's the only thing with these pencils. You got to be a little careful. Try not to, you know, rub your hands over it too much. I know it's a little hard because you do tend to wear off your lines. And they're there enough where you can still see them and recreate them. All right, Busters, that's my Tiki. Oh, I wanted to add one more thing that I don't have on the main layout. Let me get to that. It was an idea I had just to fill up the back a little bit better. Okay, buddies, now we're done. Okay, so there's my design. There's how it's transferred. I did notice when I was working on this, when I got further along, because when you scale things up, sometimes you see things that don't quite show up when it's a smaller scale. I'm not absolutely happy with the eyes, so I think I'm going to modify those from my original design. So bear with me, and I'm going to do that now, and then I'll be done. There we go. I like that much better. Hey Busters, it's your Big Kahuna interrupting your regularly scheduled video. Hey, it's 32 minutes into this video. I really appreciate you sticking with it, but I decided it was getting a little bit long. So you're lucky. We're going to break this into a two-parter. So you've watched the first part doing the layout, and so come back next week to see the bleach painting pinstriping. Yep, that'll be part 2. So hey, thanks for sticking with it. Come back. Don't forget, if you like this video so far, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, ring that notification bell, and if you really want to help me out, support my channel, go and buy me a coffee at my Buy Me a Coffee page. Link is down below in the description. All right, peace out, baby. Love y'all. Go bust out some art.